Hello, welcome to Life Matters. I'm your host, Brendan O'Connell. Well, we have a guest today that traveled all the way from Quincy, Massachusetts, to come here in Boston. And she's the executive director of Friends of the Unborn. And we're going to have her tell us all about Friends of the Unborn. And we welcome you, Joan Bailey.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here during Respect Life Month. So thank you for having me.
Well, Joan, I often ask folks, because I believe it's the broad mosaic of the Right to Life movement. How did you get involved in the Right to Life movement?
It's funny, I have been pro-life since my Catholic high school days, so that's been quite a few years. Uh-huh. Well over 35. We're involved in a number of demonstrations and movements. I had a brother who was 6 or 7 years older than I was, and he was very active with MCFL, actually, at the time. So I became involved, and I just thought it was normal and natural.
That's Massachusetts Citizens for Life.
Yes,
yeah.
The Massachusetts Citizens for Life. I thought it was normal that you would honor life and respect life and know that every life is worth living and every life was valuable, and I was shocked to find out that it wasn't. And many people have this concept of, pro-choice and wanting abortions and end-of-life issues, and I just, even as a child, I knew that was so against nature. So I just became involved and became curious. I wasn't as actively involved when I had my own children. I was busy, but always stayed in touch, always became an active member and signed. I always voted, made sure we voted pro-life, and I always encouraged others to as well. So.
Now, several years back, we had Marilyn Burney on.
Yes.
She was the founder of Friends of the Unborn. Can you tell us a little bit about Friends of the Unborn, how it started, and what is it? Is it a pregnancy resource center, or how would you classify Friends of the Unborn?
I would classify Friends of the Unborn as a home for pregnant women. That's the best way. We're a crisis pregnancy resource center. We can offer advice and guidance and resources to women who find themselves in an unplanned pregnancy, but it's faith-based, and it is truly a Christian ministry, and that's the difference, I think, than other homes and shelters in state-run projects. And Marilyn, it was 31 years ago, in September, Marilyn had seen a show about a homeless girl who was pregnant. Her family had kicked her out, and she called the Archdiocese and saying, "What can I do to help?" And they offered her different options and said, "Would you be interested in having a sheltering home and sheltering some girls?" And she said, "I will." She prayerfully considered it. She asked her 2 teenage daughters, which in my eyes was the first miracle that truly occurred, when she asked her teenage daughters, and they said, "Sure, Mom, we'll open our house, our hearts, our home to a strange pregnant girl." And that to me was the most amazing. I can't imagine I would have agreed to it if my mother asked me to house a pregnant girl.
Wow.
And so this happened, and
So
within
they brought the woman into their
right
own
into
home.
their own home.
Wow.
They welcomed a woman. The girls not only offered friendship and house and love, they offered her support that she needed at this point. It was a young girl. Actually, she had like a purple or green strip of hair and quite a few piercings, and at first they were a little taken aback. But she turned out to be a beautiful young girl, and she had a lovely daughter, and she really strengthened the family bond between parents and grandparents and everything by turning her life around with the guidance and supervision of Marilyn. Within 5 or 6 months, there were 5 girls living under their roof. And that's when the need to become a ministry and form a ministry came. And that's when it developed into the sheltering crisis pregnancy and sheltering home it is today. From humble beginnings in our own home.
So take me through, it was in Marilyn's home at first, but then what happened? How did you...
It expanded. There was such a need.
I mean,
it kept
5
growing.
people, you couldn't
Nope.
couldn't take 5 people in her house.
So she ended up going to churches, talking it over with a number of people. She had a board of directors she formed. She became a nonprofit, formed a board of directors, and with the right networking, she was able to rent space in a couple of other areas. So she had 2 or 3 locations, and it's difficult to staff and house and make sure that she's having unsupervised pregnant women. So she had to make sure she had a great coordination. And then in 16, 17 years ago, another miracle occurred. She is a faith-filled woman and truly believed that God will provide. And she knew how difficult it was trying to run 3 different houses, 3 different locations. And Tom Flatley he purchased a home, a beautiful home in Quincy, Massachusetts, and he donated it to Friends of the Unborn so we could house everything under one roof. And it was beautiful. It was 5 bedrooms, able to house as many as 16 women if necessary.
Wow.
We have 16 beds available. There's a classroom right in there. A beautiful chapel is built up on the 3rd floor. We hold Mass at least once a month and introduce the girls to prayer and Bible study. We have so many opportunities, and it looks like a home. It's a beautiful opportunity for somebody who's found themselves in an unplanned pregnancy, who is unsure of her future, to stay and be grounded and to live in a home environment for usually it's about a year and a half, because they can stay and live under our roof until the baby turns a year old.
Oh, really? Now, with all those personalities and people coming in and out, changing over time, how do you manage without having a big, pillow fight or fist fight, or just personalities clash? How do you?
And hormones, being pregnant.
Oh, and hormones. I forgot about that, I guess. But how do you handle something like that?
It has developed over the years, and it really has been through the grace of God. I have to say that we are a Christian ministry. There are there's crucifixes, pictures of our Blessed Mother, there's pictures of Jesus, and that tends to keep them out of trouble. But we have a very strict and a very long interview process. We have 4 or 5 pages of house rules, and it's almost like a little boot camp, because you have to be up by 7:30, make your bed, straighten out your room, there's chores to be done. Everybody has to be up and showered and ready to go before 9 o'clock in the morning. We have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So there's a great program, and it's set up, and it's very disciplined. It teaches women a lot of discipline. So, and with that, we have an application which is about 10 pages long, and we do have to screen the women for those who would fit best within our home. We don't have a medical staff on hand, so we can't help somebody who's currently using drugs. We just don't have the ability to do that. We can't help somebody with any severe medical issues that would put them at risk, their life at risk by staying at the house without a nurse on hand. So we do have a screening process, and most of the time it works out very well. That we truly, honestly believe, and Marilyn has said this a million times, Marilyn Burney always said, use your discernment and trust in the Lord in just choosing who comes. And it is pretty miraculous, because I'm telling you, a lot of these women are guided to us, and we really truly believe the right person will be led to us. And it just, the right people and the right mix of girls, it's not perfect. I'm going to tell you, it's not perfect. We do have arguments. We'll sit down with staff. If there's girls that have conflicts, we sit down and we try to work it out. We always have at least 2 staff members to be able to sit and work things out with the girls. And we start with a prayer. I mean, merely when you start with a prayer, in order to do it, it kind of opens the doors for healing, forgiveness.
Right.
So,
right.
like I said, it's not always perfect.
Very interesting.
And the police are right around the corner. They're like less than half a mile away, which is always a good thing to have.
How do people find out about Friends of the Unborn? What is it? Mostly word of mouth?
It's mostly word of mouth, mainly because of the networking that, with Marilyn's tireless efforts and the efforts of our board of directors in opening up these network opportunities with a number of the health clinics in the area, the hospitals. All of the nurses know us, because they'll refer, they'll find, they'll have patients that come in early in stages in their pregnancy. The DTA, which is the Department of Transitional Assistance in the Welfare Department, they're well aware of us, and they know what type of women we're looking for. Even Pine Street Inn, Rosie's Place, all of the other homeless shelters are aware of Friends of the Unborn. So word of mouth and networking has been probably the majority of our referrals, but now a number of our women they're younger, it's social media, they're on the internet, so they look up, crisis pregnancy or pregnancy hotline, and will pop up then through the internet. We have a Facebook page and friendsoftheunborn.org where girls will find us through the internet. A number of times girls are referred to us from their friends and family members who have heard of all the wonderful things. We have so many. Thousands of women have crossed through our doors and stayed at our house. And each and every one of those, we figured there's probably about 2,500 babies that have been saved because of the tireless efforts of Marilyn, the staff, and the board of directors.
I know we had a guest on here, Darlene Pollock, and it turns out that the place that she first went was Friends of the Unborn when she was in a real crisis situation. Yes. You brought some pictures. Perhaps we could take a look at the pictures of what the place looks like.
Well, thanks to the generosity of Thomas Flatley, we have a beautiful home at Friends of the Unborn, and it's right in the middle of the neighborhood, in the middle of Quincy. It's beautiful because it's a home, it's not a shelter, it looks inviting. The women is part of our program. They actually, if you'll see, they have window boxes. They actually plant the window boxes and they maintain the window boxes. We have a garden, they plant some tomatoes and peppers and that type of thing in the summer. But in the home, we do have a classroom, which is great because we can have our classes, which everyone who teaches is a professional in the community, and they're all volunteers. So we have nurse practitioners, we have computer experts, we have budgeting experts, nutrition educators, and they're all volunteers. And they teach us all the programs that the girls need.
How about home economics? Is that
it's part of the budgeting and economics portion of in home economics, we have a nutrition educator that comes and helps the girls actually with cooking, and the girls, our residents also have to shop. So we have a shopping list that has to be approved by staff, and they're taught, the price, they have to pick and choose between the lower prices. They have to clip coupons. So it's all part of the program. And it's teaching our residents the tools to succeed in life once they leave Friends of the Unborn. But we do it with that concept of scripture-based and prayer-based and faith-based. Because the state does have programs. They can offer a nutrition education class as well as we can. They can offer parenting classes as well as we can, but ours are based faith-based and scripture-based a lot of times. So that's the difference in our education.
Now, let me ask you about when these girls or women are ready to give birth, where do they go to give birth?
That's their choice. It depends on their insurance. Most of them give birth in the local hospitals. South Shore Hospital, BMC. BMC is probably...
What's BMC stand for?
Boston Medical Center.
Okay.
Sorry. Boston Medical Center and Brigham and Women, Beth Israel. They tend to give birth in the areas...
Milton or Quincy?
Quincy doesn't have maternity any longer, and neither does Milton.
Oh, wow.
So... And it's their choice. That's another thing. It's a part of our referrals. We give them the tools to make these choices and choose a doctor in the area they're comfortable with, and discuss their pregnancy and their delivery options with their doctors, and form that relationship with the hospitals as well. So
one of the questions I had is how many beds are there, and also what is layette assistance?
That's
I've never seen that word. I don't know what it is.
That's layette assistance. We call it layette assistance. That's everything you need for newborn infant, from diapers, wipes, pajamas, clothing, T-shirts, little spit cloths, bibs. We have a changing table in the crib. We have everything available if the girls need assistance with car seats and strollers. We provide everything they will need for that child, every single thing. So everything they need for a layette set for infants will be provided, and that's through the generous donations of our benefactors. We have a number of churches, Knights of Columbus, other civic groups that will donate goods and services. They'll donate baby shower items such, the clothes, pajamas, diapers, wipes, baby washes, tubs, everything. They donate, everything gets donated. And others, we do have financial donations if we don't have certain things that we can go out and purchase them. So that woman doesn't have to worry about anything. She can live at our house. The only thing we ask is if she does receive food stamps, that she would share them with the house, but we don't collect rent. We don't accept any state or federal funding either. So we can continue with our Christian views and our Christian teachings.
And can you tell us a success story or two? It looks like, is there an infant here?
This is one beautiful infant this is one of our big success stories. When you want to talk about every life matters, and this little girl actually was born premature and had a number of problems and issues. And she flatlined on the table at once, and we thought that we would lose her, and the doctors brought her back. She spent so much time in intensive care. And Father Mike McNamara went in, actually prayed with her, prayed with the mom. Staff members went to visit her, supported her through this dying time. She's going to be a year at the end of the month. Wow. And this was one of our favorite stories for a beautiful little girl. And we had a visiting priest who came in and offered to baptize her to make sure she would be okay. And
when did the baby flatline? Did the monitor flatline that she had no heartbeat?
It did.
Was this right after birth?
Yep. She was born on October 30th. And she had difficulty breathing, and she had problems. And she was intubated a couple of times, put on life support, because she was she's not small anymore. But she was born October 30th and really had some trouble, and they ended up transferring her
with breathing, lungs. You said was she premature?
She was.
She was, okay.
She ended up being transferred from one hospital to another into the NICU, which is the neonatal intensive care unit. And she finally started to come around. And we were having a Christmas party at our house. As you can see, we always have Christmas items, and we have an annual Christmas party with our residents. And we were up in the chapel celebrating. We had just had Chinese food, which one of the board of directors members generously bought, and the girls were all just about to open Christmas gifts that had been donated by the local churches. And all of a sudden we heard our beautiful resident come in. She goes, I'm home. And she brought the baby home with her.
Wow.
At our Christmas party. So it was about December 22nd, 23rd. And we were so overwhelmed. Everyone cried. And all of the residents formed a circle, held hands, and said a prayer of thanksgiving for this little one to come home. So when you say, and that's so many different women, cultures, and everybody was stressed because of the holidays. And that was one of our favorite stories. And she's going to be leaving us in a few weeks because she'll be aging out of the program. And she's strong and healthy, and her mom is doing great. So.
And good lungs, right?
Good lungs.
She can cry or yell.
She was at the pulmonary specialist a couple weeks ago, and she's doing great. Her numbers are awesome. So truly a miracle that she's here with us.
Wow, that's a nice story. Now, you have things like these girls often come from violent backgrounds. Do you have violent prevention classes and stuff like that?
Yes, we do. We have DOVE, which is Domestic Violence Ended. They come to the house and they offer a workshop once a week. They also have group meetings if anyone's interested in going. And it's a wonderful self-help type of program that teaches the women about healthy relationships and how to distinguish between healthy relationships and how much of value they are and how important the women are. So it's a great asset to our program, having the affiliation with DOVE. And we also have the Quincy Police, who will come and they'll do personal safety. And they also have programs, I think it's the self-defense programs that a lot of our women they offer them, and it's right around the corner, so the women are able to go to the self-defense programs too if they choose. So it's great to have the support of the city of Quincy, the police department, and we even have the fire department that comes out and do fire safety. So the women have these where they get to learn to trust the community members. Sometimes if they've been in a violent background or they come from a tough neighborhood, they don't learn to trust the fire department and the police department and the domestic violence. So it's wonderful that they get to learn all of these community resources that are right there at their fingertips.
Right. Now, what about adoption? Do all the girls keep the children, or is adoption discussed much? Because in our society,
it is.
It doesn't seem to be discussed in general very much.
Well, it's really funny because in the 2,500 or so babies that have been born who have been affected by being at Friends of the Unborn, whether they stayed the whole time or if they were just there for a few months, or if we just helped them out with supplying diapers and wipes and clothes for them. For all those babies, only 2 have been given up for adoption.
Wow.
Only 2. We do have some adoption referrals, and we do have some counseling. We will always counsel and mentor the women on their choice. And we also tell them that
Do you counsel all of them, or
we're always,
in regards to the option of adoption?
when they come in, we always give them, for the application process, we always discuss that, you need to choose life, and this is your opportunity, and whether you choose to keep the baby, we'll give you all the support you need, or if you choose for adoption, almost everybody always chooses. They're like, no, they want to keep the baby. But we do have that support. And we always feel that adoption is truly not a rejection of the mother, but that selfless act of the mother giving up her most precious gift, knowing that she can't help. So it's a selfless act, and we always encourage women if that's the better choice for them. But only 2 have adopted, so.
And now, how are you different again from other what I'll call shelters?
We're a program. We're not just a shelter. Some shelters allow them just to stay. They sleep there at night, so they can't stay there during the day. We're a regular home, so we have a living room and dining room and kitchen. The girls cook and prepare their own foods. They do their own shopping. They do everything as a group and a family. And we always say there's no labeling food. I'm like, no, if you live in a home, you don't get to label, this is my milk. Everybody shares. So you share the food, you share to learn that the whole idea of cooking together, eating together, cleaning up together. And ours is faith-based and Christian. We're a Catholic ministry, and we don't accept the state or federal funding, so we can keep it that way. And that's the difference that we have, that we try to push the concept of living in a home, in a fellowship, as opposed to just being there to sleep at night.
So you're really teaching them values and skills also.
Yes.
Rather than just a crash pad.
Yes.
Now, what are your dreams for Friends of the Unborn? What would you like to see, or do you have a wish list that you would like?
Oh, we have a huge wish list. I would love to have new windows and new siding and a new roof. But that's a little bit out of the budget right now. We can piecemeal and get the major things. That would save us enormously on the heating costs if we could have new siding, new windows, and a new roof. I would also love to see us expanding so we would be able to service women beyond the 1-year age. At 1 year, it becomes a danger in a house because we only have the smaller porta cribs. We don't have large enough cribs, and the kids are walking and toddle, so we don't have this. It's a safety factor once they reach a certain age. I would love to be able to see us expand to another home where we can service toddlers, families and toddlers.
From 1 to 2 years old.
Wouldn't that be great?
I guess so. Now, how can folks get in contact with you? Do you have a website, or do you have a phone number?
We do. We have a website, which is friendsoftheunborn.org. You can look us up. There's a lot of information on the website. We have a Facebook page. You can look us up on the Facebook page as well. And we have a phone number. We're right in Quincy, right in the heart of Quincy, down the street from the Quincy Center T, so it's conveniently located. And our phone number is 617-786-7903. And there's usually staff there between 8:30 and 4:30 Monday through Friday. We're usually there earlier and later, but most of the time we'll be able to answer the phone during those hours if you have any questions.
Is there any people there during any adult supervision at night or during the weekends?
No, that was costing too much with overnight paid staff. So we developed a program which works great, and it was instituted from colleges and universities, how they'll have a resident assistant, and it's one of the students who oversees the eyes and the ears of the staff when they're not there. We have 2 women that oversee the house when we're not there, and they report to us first thing in the morning.
And are they pregnant women?
They're pregnant or new moms.
I see.
They're the
good.
residents.
Well, Joan Bailey, thank you very much. I didn't even ask you if you were a descendant of Bailey's Ice Cream here in Boston. And it used to be
one of my favorite ice cream places.
Used to be an institution in downtown Boston. So
downtown Boston.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, and thank you so much for all that you've shared with us today. And we hope you found today's show to be unique, informative, content-rich, truthful, and thought-provoking. Thanks for watching. I'm Brendan O'Connell, your friend for life.